Hello, welcome to the next part of Andy Collier-talks cricket memorabilia. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Lord Sheffield's team to Australia in 1891. But first, I just want to sort of correct a wrong that I did on my last video cast about Alfred Min's daughters. I never really went into too much detail about them, so hopefully I'll just put that wrong for a couple of secs. He had Alfred Min had 5 daughters who were. First one was Sarah, and it was Mary, Frances, Eliza and Laura, 5 of them. And I've got letters, there's 8 letters from Sarah, Mary, Frances and Eliza. Laura probably, I haven't got letters from Laura because I think she arrived too late for going to Bearsted Seminary. One of the reasons being Alfred Min was actually jailed for debt quite a few times, and in 1845 he was playing in a game at Bath against MCC for Western Counties, and after the match he sort of got arrested and taken away and imprisoned, well, he was in prison for a while, so until he sorted out his debts he wasn't let out, which probably meant that's the reason why Laura never went to Bearsted Seminary, because 1845 was too late for the letters, so that's probably the reason for that. So I'm just going to show you a couple more of the letters. The first one, which was written by Eliza rather. This is 1843 when she was 10 years old. So I just want to sort of put that up to the screen a bit and show you what a fantastic letter writing they did. All copper plate, 10 years old, so I don't think we can really do that. You used to teach handwriting in schools in those days, so that's probably why we don't do it now. And another letter here, this one's from Francis. That was 1842. So again, they're all basically the idea was to get them to persuade their parents to finance them for another year at Bearsted Seminary. Bearsted is in Kent. So I'll just show you one of the back of the envelopes. There's a back of an envelope there. That was to Mrs. Min. There's also another one to Alfred Min. What is this one? Alfred Min there, addressed to Alfred. So I hope you can see that. So that just puts a little bit of more information onto Alfred Min. So unfortunately 2 of the daughters died fairly young. Mary died in 1851 from rheumatic pericarditis, and Laura died in the same year 9 months later from gangrene of the lungs, which is you can't really imagine that these days. So she must have been pretty sick. So unfortunately, only one of the daughters, Laura, lived on till a fairly old age, so not a great long life for the Min family there. So that's a little bit more information on Alfred Min. So hopefully I'll put that straight. There might be some more later on. Come up to when I come up to find some more information. So just like to talk to you about Lord Sheffield now, with a view of Roger Packham coming round for an interview. Obviously with his Lord Sheffield book, I thought I'd go through the 1891 tour with you, which is quite a thing really. Australian cricket was going through a bit of a doldrums, and they were really getting sort of behind and nothing really happening. So Lord Sheffield took it upon himself to take a side out to Australia with W.G. Grace as his captain. Now W.G. Grace, even though he's an amateur, made a lot of money out of cricket. On this tour he was only prepared to go for a fee of £3,000, which is a lot of money in these days. So he also had to, or Lord Sheffield had to find a replacement for him at his doctor's surgery in Bristol, and also he could take his wife and children with him. So that was quite a thing in those days. There weren't many kids and wives allowed to go on tour. So that was quite a coup for W.G. Grace. It was his second time he toured. He toured in 1873 to America. So they left the shores of England on the Arcadia, arriving at Malta, where they had a game against the Malta side, well, mainly the Garrison side in Malta, and then sailed on to Colombo, and from Colombo on to Albany, where they arrived on the 5th of November. On the 6th of November, they sailed on round to Adelaide, and this from the tour is a entertainment sheet when they sailed on the 6th of November round to Adelaide, and on that sheet it's called The Darkest African Minstrel. So some of this stuff is not politically correct these days, but W.G. Grace done the introduction, and also on there Maurice Reed, he was singing Speak to Me Love, Only Speak. Alfred Shaw, Good Old Jeff was another one. Briggs, the on Them Golden Slippers. Andy Stoddart, he sung a song, What Cheer. And at the end of that, after a very good evening, they sung God Save the Queen. So there we are, Queen Victoria, obviously. So that's quite a nice little memento of that tour there, 1891, which I bought at auction a few months ago, because it goes with some of the other things I've got on Lord Sheffield's tour. A very rare photograph of Sheffield's team there. I hope you can see that. I've actually put a signature of Lord Sheffield in the bottom. So I've not seen very many photographs of that team. That came off of eBay, believe it or not, and I bought that with a couple of other things. One of them was this one here when they went to Tasmania, and that's Lord Sheffield going around Tasmania, the Huon Road. So that's another little memento of that tour. Unfortunately, the tour for England wasn't that great. They lost 2-1, which was not good. I'll just mention that the professionals on that side, they were paid £300 actually, so I hope they didn't realise that Sheffield paid £3,000 to W.G. Grace. But they also, with their contract, they could not have wine and cigars in their contract, so they had to pay for their wine and cigars. So Lord Sheffield travelled actually for his health reasons. He wasn't particularly well in those days, so he thought, right, I'm going to go to Australia, a bit warmer weather, and obviously in Tasmania, he stayed a long time in Tasmania because it was more like the English climate, so that's where some pictures of the Tasmanian trip came from. Yeah, England lost that series 2-1. The first test match they lost by 54 runs. The second test match, Australia won a game by 72 runs this time. Bobby Abel got 132 not out in that game, and the ever generous Lord Sheffield wrote him a cheque for £50. So Bobby Abel, Surrey man, was very happy with that. Jack Lyons in that game got 134. In the third test match, England actually won by a massive innings and 230 runs, and Andy Stoddart, Drewy Stoddart, getting 134. So everybody was happy with that. And as I mentioned the other night, Lord Sheffield was determined to give Australian cricket a kick up the backside, and donated £150 to the 3 first-class states at the time, to get competition going between the teams, which obviously proved successful. The Sheffield Shield was made, and the first team to win was Victoria in 1892. So Lord Sheffield's object of the tour was kicked off. So he was happy. But he stayed on in Australia for a while after that tour to say improve his health, but never really worked for him. But there we are. Can't have it all, I suppose. So Lord Sheffield, obviously his estate in down in Haywards Heath, down in Sussex, is being played onto these days. They resurrected the ground down there, so you can go down there and see what it was all about, really, because Lord Sheffield invited all sorts of teams over, Australia, the Parsees, South Africa, to play down in Sheffield Park, which thousands of people turned up. One game, the Prince of Wales turned up, which boosted the crowd in 1896 to 30,000 people. So it was obviously a big thing, and Lord Sheffield was a great benefactor of Sussex County Cricket Club, and indeed Alfred Shaw, a Nottinghamshire man, he worked for Lord Sheffield for many years, doing coaching and bringing on the kids and that, and trying to find some talent down there. So he was quite influential in that. So there's another couple of photographs on that Lord Sheffield tour. This one here was from Moses Hills, but I don't think this photograph is from when he went to Australia. I think this is when he went to Egypt on one of his tours. Alfred Shaw accompanied him on these tours, so that's quite a rare little photograph there. And also the photograph here of Isis on the Nile, which was definitely when he went to Egypt. So I think those two photographs, although they were attributed to the 1891 tour, weren't actually that tour. So might be a little bit of adjustment on the historical side there. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit about Lord Sheffield and the resurrection of Alfred Min's daughters and whatever. So hopefully, if you keep subscribing, there's some very good interest on the YouTube. So my main aim for the YouTube channel really was to get so many viewers that I get onto Strictly Come Dancing and dance with Oti Mabuse. So that's the big thing for me on that one. But I don't suppose that'll happen, but never know. So anyway, onwards and upwards, and we've just arranged a interview with David Frith, so that will be coming up. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video, and I'll see you next time.